Leguat's giant was a mysterious bird at least 6 foot tall, first described by Francois Leguat. Now, Leguat also discovered the Rodrigues parrot and the Rodrigues Solitaire, which I've also done a video on previously. It was allegedly spotted on the island of Mauritius. But if it did truly exist, and it's quite difficult to miss a massive 6 foot tall bird, why do we not have any other sources or remains of this bird? But before we move on to discuss this amazingly interesting cryptid, I have an important announcement to make. Here's a contemporary description of the bird that Francois Leguat mentions. Now, he does use the long S letter, so it can be a bit confusing, but he says they are extremely high mounted and have very long necks. Their bodies are not bigger than that of a goose. They are all white except a little place under their wings which is reddish. They have a goose's bill but a little sharper. Their claws are very long and divided. They feed in many places and the dogs frequently surprise them because they require a considerable time, I think that says to get weapon the wing, to use their wings as a weapon, I believe. We saw one, so the long S again, we saw one day at Rodrigo and we took him with our hands. He was so fat. That was the only one we observed there, which made me inclined to believe he had been carried thither by some wind he could not resist. This game is good enough. There are also a small kind of small bird, pretty much like our sparrows, except that their throats are red, so he mentions the Rodrigues Solitaire. Parrots of all sorts are likewise to be found here in great abundance. Here moreover are pigeons and blackbirds but few, then he talks about the other birds. But the most interesting description is he says that they're 6 feet high. There have been many depictions and drawings of Leguat's giant, and I'll show you some now. I also wanted to say I hope everybody had a lovely Christmas and happy holidays, especially if you don't celebrate Christmas. For Christmas I got a new suit jacket because, for work obviously, because my current one isn't machine washable, but this new one is, so I can just pop it in the washing machine to wash it in case I get, I don't know, God forbid, some pasta sauce spilt on me or something, which of course I'd never do, but just in case it's machine washable, which is nice. Lord Walter Rothschild took a very great interest in Leguat's giant, and he wrote in his 1907 book called Extinct Birds, "The body is no larger than that of a goose, wings rather short but still fitted for flight, toes long and completely free, middle toe almost as long as torso metabolus, bill with a naked shield reaching back beyond the eye, height about 6 feet. The scientific name for Leguat's giant is Leguatia Gigantea, by the way. Whilst it's suggested to be a species of flamingo, flamingos on Mauritius only grow to about 3 feet big, and it's depicted more as a sort of ridiculously oversized rail bird. However, there have been some suggestions that it's a hoax, or maybe a sort of tall tale. Ornithologist Dr. Calmain Labracht wrote in 1933, and he called it an invented, dreamed-up bird. Similarly, a James Greenway, who wrote a book called Extinct and Vanishing Birds of the World in 1967, also claims that the bird is fabricated. I think one of the main arguments against Leguat's giant is the explorers who visited before Leguat and the people who visited Mauritius after Leguat don't mention this bird at all, which seems a bit strange because it's so large you'd think it'd be pretty easy to see. I think one argument in favour of the bird's existence is Adrian Calat. Now, he was a Flemish designer and engraver, and when he visited Mauritius he drew this mysterious bird. Now, he doesn't name the bird other than calling it Avis indica, and also a Marquis de Quinza mentioned giant marsh-dwelling birds on Reunion, which is one of the islands of Mauritius. Getting back onto the possibility that Leguatia Giant may be a flamingo, I think there are quite a few facts that would almost disprove this. For example, the flamingo's neck is much longer and thinner than Leguatia Giant, and the beak of Leguatia Giant is completely different to that of a flamingo. The flamingo's tail is also much shorter and has a different shape, and the colours are different entirely. Leguat was also very familiar with flamingos, and he wrote about them too, so it seems unlikely that he could get them so muddled up. Also, 6 feet, that's twice the height of a flamingo. Unfortunately, if we are to accept the validity of Leguatia Giant, the mysterious bird, being a new species, we have to contend with the fact that there's no specimens or preserved remains. There's not even a single bone that we can really identify with Leguatia Giant, and if it was so common as Leguat said, why have we not got other writers talking about it? As mysteries go, Leguatia Giant has definitely got to be up there. Francois Leguat was an experienced zoologist, and it seems really unlikely on one hand that he would get this so mixed up, but on the other hand there's just no physical evidence at all for Leguatia Giant, so it really does remain currently a mystery until we can find some fossil evidence. As always, thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.